I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, October the 4th, brought to you in part by Bovolus Vision Vaccines. They give strong protection against clostridial disease. Each is powered by the proprietary spur adjuvant that leads to better feed conversion and increased weaning weights when compared to conventional clostridial vaccines. Also, each time you buy a bottle of Bovolus Vision vaccine, you're entered into a monthly drawing for a fancy custom-made Greeley Hatworks cowboy hat. For more information, go to powered-by-spur.com. Back-breaking economy. Everybody wants to know what happened to the board and why everything fell on Tuesday. It's our back-breaking economy. Our border crisis, monster inflation, extreme environmental and agenda, and it's basically just Bidenomics. It's what we've been suffering here for the last 2.5 years or so, ever since Mr. Magoo took over leading this country, or should I say, whoever's pulling his strings took over leading this country. Because, I mean, we all know, I mean, you can say it's disrespectful to the president, but it's, I mean, watching him is like remembering going and seeing your oldest relative at the nursing home. It's absolutely ridiculous, and he's supposed to be leading us through this, and it's just, I mean, everything is going down the tubes. And not that the Republicans are any better. Look at the political dysfunction that happened on Tuesday, where 8 Republicans in the House decided to team up with all 208 Democratic representatives, and they ousted Kevin McCarthy from the Speaker of the House. What good did that do? It just leads to more chaos. Why did every single Democratic House representative there decide to vote him out? Just to cause chaos. And it's just ridiculous. You know, who's going to step up and lead us through these tough times here? You know, your stock market was down big on Tuesday, down 431 points. You know, why wouldn't your cattle board be down? It just, you know, everything has gotten so expensive, this monster inflation that we're dealing with. You know, something's about to break. And I think it's the backs of the consumer. And, you know, we hate to say it, but your retail beef is at an all-time record high. You know, it's not the consumer's fault that we're extremely tight on all classes of cattle, especially market-ready fed cattle. But, you know, we know that the packer's going to always keep in the black and make their money. The middleman's always going to keep their money. You know, we really can't complain about the market right now. And we're going to have some ebbs and flows in this fancy market that we got going on. Prices are handsome. No, they're not as good as they were a week and a half ago, but they're still awfully good. They're going to dip, and they're going to come back, and they're going to go up and down, and that's just the way that they always do. But tell you what, it's really you know, not anybody in America's fault. We have been under really a back-breaking economy ever since the pandemic come out. And of course that was unleashed on us by our biggest enemy, China, and they have not paid for that yet. But you know, that's why everything was in the dumps on Tuesday, and your cattle market's going to have to take that too. I'm coming to you here from San Angelo, Texas. Going to be going to a production sale here on Wednesday. If you're in the area, come by and see me. Going to the Hoffman Land and Livestock Red Angus sale in Miles, Texas, just up the road here. Going to be at 1 o'clock Central there, and be sure and come out if you guys are anywhere close by. Your DVAuction production sales, that's our bread and butter. And you know, we have the NationalBeefWire, Cattle Market Central, Feeder Flash, but and we do, you know, about 100 commercial cattle auctions with a permanent broadcasting system in there. But our on-site production sales, we do from 12 or 13 to 1,500 of them every year on site mostly replacement stock sales, like our production bull sales, but that's what we do the most of. And I'll give you our production sale report for September. In the month of September, which is not a big production sale month, we had over 11,500 bids, not commercially, but just in our production sales. Nearly 1,800 lots were sold through DVAuction console with a total purchase price of over $5.2 million. If you guys are having a production sale and you're not using DVAuction, you're missing the boat. We have got more buyers than any competitor out there. We've been around for a long time, and we're not planning on going anywhere. Let's talk about your board for Tuesday. October live cattle futures were down $2.30 to end the day at 182.12. December was down $2.70 at 185.65. Your back months were all down $1.60 to $2.87. Your feeder cattle board, October feeder cattle down $4.72 at 248.60. November down $5.45, ouch, at 250.35. I'm telling you again, I mean, in hindsight's 2020, but if you didn't get your LRPs bought, these back months have lost a ton. And you guys were worried about how expensive they were. They've gone down a lot more than what they cost. Your back months on feeder cattle down $5.07 to down $5.30. Woo! New crop December corn down 1 1/4 cent at 487.5. New crop November beans down 4 1/4 cent at 12.72 3/4. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for December. It's always beats to its own drum and always volatile. Up 6 1/2 cents a bushel at 683 1/4. Your fat cattle trade did take place on Tuesday. Packers, they might be shrewd, but we've never accused them of being stupid. They're definitely going to take advantage of a big down day on the board and markets being in upheaval to try to get some cattle bought at steady or lower money. And they did get that done. Not so much in the northern plains. Iowa only sold 200 head from 183 to 184, which is on the lower end of last week's price spread. Nebraska 1,000 head at 183 only, and that'd be a buck lower there. Kansas sold 6,800 head. That's as much as they've been moving here lately, almost all at 182. That's a buck lower than last week because of the rough day. Texas 7,700 head sold at 182. That's a buck lower also there. But kind of tough day to start out our direct trade in the 5-area feeding region. Brick and mortar auction, the biggest one in the country. Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota had 1,100 head in overnight. 1,700 for the fat cattle auction there. And the market was tougher, but not as much tougher as what the board or what the direct trade was. Conventional cattle sold from 179.50 to 185. Pretty narrow spread there, guys. 50 cents to $1 lower. A lot of that trade was done before everything developed in our markets and in the news. Your program cattle, non-implanted or drug-free cattle selling from 180, 150 to $200.25. That was mostly steady on your program cattle there. And Gary Marks did say that the offering was a little plainer as to quality and finish as it was compared to last week. Talk about our box beef cutout values. They were down hard. Now that's fundamental there to our cattle board and to our cattle markets. We cannot maintain our prices on these cutout values, or your packers are not. I can understand why they don't just shut it off and get the prices back up there where they want them. It's basically a posted price, and they try to sell some product at that. It's a minuscule amount of what they actually trade. And why they can't get those cutout values higher? Maybe because it keeps the markets under pressure. But choice cuts down 301 at $300.07 a hundred. Now that's just barely hanging on to $3 a pound there, and when that's kind of been a point there that they've had a hard time hanging on to. Select cuts down $1.39 at $275.59. Your slaughter starting out weak. I mean, they're not running those chain speeds very fast at all, guys. And it's also amazing that as much as they've cut production, they haven't been able to get them cutout values any higher. But slaughter, just through the first 2 days of the week, 253,000 estimated harvest. That's 2,000 less than the same time a week ago, 5,000 less than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. MLS Tubs. MLS takes pride in their line of products that are proven to lower your feed supplement costs. We've been spotlighting distributors of MLS Tubs. Your October distributor spotlight is Amite Co-op in Liberty, Mississippi. Don't forget to check with them if you live in that part of the country there. For more information, go to mlstubs.com. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction. Based on an 800-pound cash steer, your real-time index late on Tuesday is sitting at 248.98, down 15 cents compared to the end of Monday's trade. We lost a little bit more ground. I'm surprised it wasn't a little more than that. But your CME cash feeder cattle index just keeps hanging way up there with direct trade and some video sales in there that nobody really checks on. But sitting at 251.79, been hanging way up there after we've lost $8.50 on your feeder board, and your cash feeder cattle auction have been sharply lower, and it just keeps hanging up there. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to get 252 for a real fancy load of just barely 8-weight steers, guys, let alone the average on all of them. But talk about your big sales on Tuesday. Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri had 2,400 head through the ring, another 1,000 head through their in-house video that they have every week with help from DVAuction. You sell barn guys, wouldn't it be nice to have another 1,000 head to tack on your receipts almost every week? And you can do it with cell phone video, help from DVAuction. You just stop your regular sale for a few minutes, pull those up, sell a lot of cattle, and go right back to selling your cattle through the ring. But in West Plains, feeders were steady to $4 lower. Calves were $3 to $6 lower, with spots $10 lower. My buddy Dan Hill, the Federal State Market Reporter there, said the offering was fairly plain and mostly all ballers there. So it's getting that time of the year, guys. And I tell you, every October you're going to have at least 1 or 2 weeks in there that your supplies are going to outweigh your demand, and this is one of them. Your NationalBeefWire stick-out sale of the day for Tuesday was Kimball Livestock Exchange in Kimball, South Dakota. They didn't have a lot of calves. It was mostly bigger feeders. You look at this automated market report through Cattle Market Central with over 3,200 head selling. The best tested weights were your heavier weights. 879 head of 8-weight steers averaged 862 at 249.90. 120 head of 9-weight steers averaged 969 at 228.75. Look at the heifers. They had 283 head of 8-weight heifers in Kimball, South Dakota. They had a weighted average weight of 860 pounds and a weighted average price of $231.17. Another 642 head of 9-weight steers. It's hard to make a heifer weigh 9, guys. They averaged 943 pounds with a weighted average price of $212.78. Give you some individual quotes from all around. How about Denny Rezac Livestock Commission in St. Mary's, Kansas? They sell 55 steers, weigh 914 at $242.85. And if you hadn't listened to the feeder flash for a week or so, you think, well, that's not that big a deal. Pretty big deal this week, guys. How about Cattleman's Livestock Auction in Harrison, Arkansas? That's another DVAuction broadcasted barn. So is Rezac Livestock Commission. But you can get on View and Bid Harrison, Arkansas every week. 162 steers, weigh 688 and bring 270. That's impressive. Another DVAuction broadcasted barn is OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma. Year to year, top 2 or 3 sales in the country as far as receipts. It's in El Reno, Oklahoma. Their calf sales on Tuesday, feeder sales on Wednesday. top sale on Tuesday on some calves there in El Reno was 58 steer calves, weighed 508 and bring 317.50. Be sure and get on to DVAuction here today on Wednesday and watch El Reno at OKC West. But how about your most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday? Jermackerson, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Junction City, Kansas at JC Livestock Sales. They sold 64 steers, weighed 613 pounds at $300.25 per 100. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.